Alright guys, today we are going to discuss the Pokemon market in general, investability of Pokemon, and what is happening in vintage and modern Pokemon for investment. So if you're new here guys, hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and as always, hit that like button. We can get 70 likes on this video. It's greatly appreciated and it helps us out a ton. Also, we have this month's box break down below. If you want to check it out in the box break link for May, it'll be there for you. We're doing Brilliant Stars. 2 new booster boxes are available. So if you're interested in purchasing into that, sure you check that out here before you leave. And today, as you can tell, my voice is a little raspy. I lost my voice a couple days ago, and that's why I haven't done a video prior to this, but I feel that this is some information that we really need to discuss because there's a lot of controversy right now when it comes to the Pokemon investing in modern, vintage, or just in general. And today I just want to sit here and give you my viewpoint and my thoughts on this and what I see being the big deals with this market. So the first thing I want to discuss is Pokemon vintage, modern, or any of it investable. Be 100% honest with you guys. Nobody knows. We don't know. We're all speculating what's going to happen. We're all speculating how this is going to go. We all have ideas. We all have data that show different directions that this is going to head. But realistically, it's all just guessing. We're taking our best guesses on what's going on. And it really comes down to, are you a pessimist or are you an optimist? If you're a pessimist, you're going to tend to say modern's not investable and vintage is investable because it has history. We can see where it was. We can see where it's come from. We can see where it's gone, and we can kind of guess where it's going based on those trends. Using previous trends to see where this stuff's coming from and going are a very safe way of investments, and it's a really traditional way of looking at investments. So yes, that is 100% true. Modern or vintage really has that asset value of having data historically to show you where things are going. Now, if you're an optimist, you tend to see things in the modern. And the reason I say that is because you don't necessarily need to have that historical backing of data. You might just need that little entry point of data to be able to figure out and see potential in these items, see potential growth, see potentials in things that are happening, and be able to just look back on the recent sets in Sword and Shield and go, hey, these things are making 30 to 40% in a year and a half, 2 years. Is that a bad gain? No, it's not. It's actually a really good gain. Actually, vintage has been really rough. If you pull up a lot of different vintage items that you would think were high end, they're all down and they haven't moved up. Modern's done more moving in the positive direction than a lot of these other sets, especially vintage. To sit there and say that a set in the past hadn't moved for 4 years is absolutely true. The data shows that. We can't argue that fact. The one thing that a lot of people that are really in the vintage mode don't want to think about or put into perspective is what happened in 2020 could be a market altering event. We have catalysts in the market that cause them to go up and then return back. But we also have market altering events. And these events are items that come up that actually change the course of the market forever. Could this have happened in 2020? Yes. You think of how many new people are in the market, in the hobby, whether they're opening cards, they're playing tournaments, they're investing, they're purchasing things for their collections, they're building things. It's astronomical the amount of people that have joined. And we didn't just bring back people like my age bringing back into the hobby. We brought our kids back into this hobby. That's another area of leaves on the trees, guys. This is going to be continual growth. This is what we wanted. This makes a hobby healthy. And is this going to cause this market to collapse? It could. There's always that potential if you really want to look at it. These people could mass exodus out because of things going wrong, because of recession and depression in our economy. It's not just nobody wants to hear that. These are all factors that could cause these changes to happen. So let's be 100% clear. None of us know. We are right now completely setting sail on the seas that have never been seen before in this economy and in this Pokemon market. Modern, to me, has potential. There's a lot of potential in an optimistic view. We're seeing a lot of these potentials come through, and exclusive items are doing extremely well, but even non-exclusive items are doing rather well also. Booster boxes are continuing to move up. Saying MSRP on a booster box in these boxes are just getting back to it at 1.5 years is a great thought, but most of us don't buy booster boxes at MSRP. Most of them, such as myself, buy them around $100 or less. So when they get back to MSRP, that's a great gain right there. Vivid Voltage is a perfect example of that. It was at $250 at one point. Reprints came, like what happens in Modern, and anybody that invests in Modern understands this, or should understand the reprint system and rotation, and should understand these terms. They're definitely things you should learn. I might do a video on that. It's actually a great video to have for the terminology of what you're looking for and the investment in Modern to really give you an idea to keep your head straight. A lot of people that invested in Modern understood this and knew reprints were going to come and crush that price, and it did. It sent Vivid Voltage down to about $96 a box at one point. We picked it up at $96, and now it's already back up to $143, which is MSRP. That means most of us that had purchased it at that price are now sitting at about a 37% gain. Is that a great gain? Yeah. Find a stock in 1 year that goes up 37%. You're not going to do it very easily. It's not very common. Is that the norm? No, not all sets are like that. Chilling Reign is the complete opposite. Booster boxes fell down to $82 and they're sitting around $90. There's been no movement. It's been really slow going on that set. Keeps getting forgotten, keeps getting pushed around. Not really a popular set, kind of a mediocre middle ground set, and that's what happens. So knowing the market, knowing what's anchor Pokemon, knowing what sets will do well and why they will do well are all keys that need to be remembered when we're in Modern. Vintage is a whole nother animal. Vintage, when you're investing, you got to have some money. Especially after the boom, a lot of these guys like to act like you've always had to have a lot of money. Before the boom, back in 2019, you could have purchased a lot of the vintage Hollows first edition cards for under $10 in the raw. Wasn't uncommon. Even graded cards were between $30 and $50. So it's one thing that we like to look at now is that these vintage cards will be running a couple $100 versus $20 to $25. But they've dropped quite a bit from where they were also and have not returned to their original prices that they were back in 2020. So using Modern as an example of the up and down of the market, but not using vintage in the same factor is kind of a bad thing to do. It's not a good way to outlook at a market. Look at them both fairly at what's happened. Do I think 2020 was an altering event? Yes. I think this market will never be the same. Historical data is probably out the window. We can make every guess we want and we can use whatever data we want to do so. But until we get 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, possibly even 5 into this market, we may never know what's going to happen. Do I think the Pokemon's a primary investment source? No. I think there's better investments out there. I think there's better places you go with your money. If you're actually looking at right now, stock markets may not be the best option for what we're seeing. Dow Jones, S&P 500 down 15 to 18%. NASDAQ down 30%. Are there safe options in these? Absolutely. There's still safe stocks, safe conservative areas to go. That's where everybody's moving their money, and we're seeing it continuously every day. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good place to put your money either. It's going to get difficult here, guys, next year, making these decisions. And sometimes tangible assets are actually doing better sometimes than your stock market or digital assets. Something in hand a lot of times can be better than something in paper. Just having a digital number out there is not necessarily a good thing. Be interesting to see where it goes. Be interesting to see how well luxury goods such as Pokemon handle themselves. Not just Pokemon, but sports cards. We've got a lot of examples. But let me just put in one more retrospect of things that happened in the past. Interesting one that you could go back and do a little bit of looking at is Beanie Babies. If we look at the Beanie Baby market back in when it came out in 1991, it was non-existent. Beanie Babies first came out, or 93. They first came out, and when they came out, they were a fun toy. Everybody looked at them as a toy. In 97, something interesting happened with Beanie Babies. The market exploded, Anybody that was there remembers the Beanie Baby boom of 97. These stuffed bean-filled animals were selling for thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. Retail priced at like 6 to 7 and selling for thousands of dollars if you had one with the tag of the original to the 93, 91 release, whatever it was. Even though it had that boom, that explosion of people, was it a market-altering event? No. Beanie Babies corrected. Beanie Babies that were selling for thousands of dollars were selling for $1 to $2. And have they gone up in value since? Yes, I've seen a lot of them Beanie Babies actually have gone up in price. As weird as it sounds, people still collect them. People have the nostalgia of collecting those Beanie Babies, and they still try to do so. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about the Pokemon market. Was 2020 a market-altering event? The correction period says yes. Beanie Babies crashed in 9 months. They went from high price to nothing in 9 months. We have already gone past that point here, and we've seen some stabilization and some upward movement in this market, which is unexpected if that's the case. So guys, keep this in mind. Does anybody know where this market's going? Does anybody know if these things are absolutely investable? No. Nobody can say yes or no. Nobody's going to know for about 4 to 5 years. Pessimists are going to see historically it's been bad, that this won't work, that this won't happen, that this isn't what the norm is. And they're right, this isn't the norm. But does that mean that with the new market, new people, all this stuff going on, all the culture changes that have happened in Pokemon TCG, the engagement we're getting between YouTube and people such as yourself, is this going to drive this market upwards and continue moving in a different direction than what's historically possible? Possibly. So maybe don't put as much worry into what this person says or what this person says. Use the data that works best for what you're looking at. Look at your outcome and make your decisions based on that. That would be my suggestion. Use us as references. Use our information. Use a lot of information and build your own hypothesis on where you think this is going. Put it down in Excel spreadsheets. Put down numbers in Excel sheets for where you'd like to be and where you are and how much you want to gain so you can see it all laid out and see if there's a future for this for you. This is just my suggestions. Once again, this is my opinions. But I feel that there's opportunity everywhere in the Pokemon market. There's enough out there for everybody. And if you can keep that in mind, you can enjoy yourself in this hobby and you can be successful in whatever part of it you want to be in. There's opportunity everywhere. So once again, guys, hopefully this brings you some good information. Hopefully I give you a good opinion. Hopefully it gets your mind thinking a different direction. And in the comments below, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this whole, is Pokemon modern, vintage, or investable at all? And with that being said, if you do enjoy this kind of content, of course, subscribe, hit that notify, and of course, hit that like button. We get 70 likes in this video. Last but not least, I'm going to put up these 2 videos for you guys to enjoy afterwards, some more information for you guys. And we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.